What's going on, everybody? You're listening to the Point2Point NHL Recap Show, Season 2, Episode 36. I'm Pascal Pryor, joined by Mark Averlack. You know what? We've been off for a little bit. I got stuck in Portugal for a full week. That was definitely interesting. So after some time off, we're back. We're going to continue on with these NHL deep dives. We've done 2 episodes of it so far. We're going to do 4 more today. Before we get started on that, though, Mark, what's going on with you, man?
Dude, honestly, like, not to be blunt, like, nothing really at all. Like, I feel like the past, like, 2 weeks I've been, like, so bored. Like, I feel like just, like, the dog days of the offseason are kind of finally hitting. I don't know, did you get a chance to watch Halinka at all, or were you, like, on vacation?
No,
Like,
I don't. I've seen some of the highlights. USA won, but
yeah.
I didn't really watch any of the actual games.
See, like, that week I was, like, super entertained. So I'm like, fuck, I finally got some hockey back on, but... Yeah, I mean, like, we got, like, what? Like, we were just talking 5-6 weeks till the season starts. I'm super excited. I'm already trying to get ready to go for that. But besides that, I'm on vacation this week. Probably just going to kind of head up to my cottage. The Owen Sound Attack, or, like, their arena is, like, 25 minutes probably from my cottage. But they're doing renovations right now, and they're doing their training camp. Like, it's called Shallow Lake, which is, like, even closer. It's, like, 10-15 minutes. So, like, I think I'm probably going to, like, maybe Thursday, Friday, like, go just see, like, the scrimmages or something, see if there's, like, any good, like, any other good players playing in that, just to, like, kind of pass some time, I guess. But yeah, like, OHL has kind of opened up their camps already, and, like, I think the Q did last week too. So
No, OHL, QMJHL, WHL, they're all pretty close to being back. They'll be back within the next couple weeks here, I'd imagine, because they started off earlier, right? Because all those kids got to be back at home ready for school, right? Because, like, that's the one thing I hate about this time of year is that the nights aren't as hot. You know, like, you can slowly start to see that the weather's more becoming a bit of the fallish weather. And then when you're watching TV, man, you got all these fucking back to school commercials, back to school, back to school. And you're always just thinking to yourself, you're like, fuck, man, summer just flew by, dude. Like,
do you not feel like those back to school commercials though started, like, even earlier this year? Like, I swear it was, like, July 15th and I was already seeing them, and usually it's, like, once August hits.
oh, dude, I'm all with you on that, man. I feel like every year they start off like 1 week earlier. Like, I remember as a kid, dude, like, it'd be like the first week of August, and we'd be on vacation somewhere watching TV, and you'd see a back to school commercial, and, like, me and my sister would just get so depressed, and my parents are like,
Oh, dude, I used to
"Hey,
hate it too.
yeah, hey guys, don't worry, there's still like 4 weeks left this summer." Like, they're like, we're only halfway through summer, yet you're seeing these back to school commercials.
It's like the glass, like, half full, half empty. It just starts making you feel like it's, like, the
Yeah.
half empty part. You know what I mean? Dude, they're gonna start putting back to school commercials, like, right after Canada Day, like, in the next couple of years.
Oh,
It
dude.
feels like it's
By the time
gonna be ridiculous.
By the time we have kids, dude, they're gonna be having back to school commercials playing at like 5 o'clock on like June 23rd, like, as soon as they're home from their last day of school. Last day of school. By the way, back to school sales start now. Let's let's get right into it though. Start off out in the Pacific Division with the Calgary Flames. They've had a pretty quiet offseason with hardly any roster turnover, but the busiest they have been was at the draft when they had 2 first round picks. Mark, looking at their draft, how do you feel they made out there?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the last couple drafts, Craig Conroy's, like, done a pretty good job of, like, getting talent, like, kind of where they're picking. Obviously, like, with Perek a year before, like, that was a really good pick. Like he kind of fell to you guys, but at the same time, it's like other teams missed on him, and it's like, I'd probably assume that he's going to be an everyday NHL or next season, right? So it's like you're drafting a guy at 9th overall who's taken one year outside the NHL and then being able to be NHL ready. I think with the picks you guys made this year, though, it's definitely, like, a little bit different. Like, I feel like, especially in the first round, like, Reshny and Potter were 2 guys that I was kind of banging the drum about. Like, I don't know if you remember, like, I think I had both these guys ranked within the top, like, probably 22 or 20 or something like that. I look at a guy like Colt Reshney, and I kind of compare him a little bit, even though they're not the same position, to kind of the way like Easton Cowan's draft year unfolded. It wasn't that Reshney was struggling early in this draft year, but he really started to take off in the second half and was probably one of the best point producers in the WHL in the second half of the season. And I look at a guy like Cullen Potter, and I really like this pick at 32, dude. Like when he started kind of dropping after 20, I was like, oh my God, is it just because he's a 5'10 center? Like, we're not going to be taking him in the first round. I'll be completely honest with you, dude. I think besides Matthew Schaefer, I think Cullen Potter's the best skater out of this draft, to be quite honest with you. And I think that was a reason why he decided to go college last year instead of he could have just stayed in the USNDP. Like, he would have been their best player, because no one in the NDP was drafted in the first round, right? Like, he probably would have been their highest point producer, but he decided to take that risk and go to college. And it's like, you look at his stat line: 13 goals, 9 assists, 22 points, 35 games. Dude, I don't know. Like, I think that's pretty good production from a guy who, it's like, he's not a top echelon prospect, but it's like, I see both of these guys like kind of fighting for like a 3C, maybe a 2C role in the future. But it's like they both have a lot of skill and they can both move, right? But I mean, I guess your one downside is that they are both like kind of underneath 6 foot, right? I mean, that kind of does suck a little bit moving forward, considering you guys aren't like the biggest team, I would say, like with the biggest prospects. I feel like that's probably something that Conroy would have to address, like whether it's via trade or maybe it's still drafting, right? But I feel like I'd be a little bit weary to take another small guy like high in the draft, I guess. With other guys in the draft, like I'm not too familiar with a lot of guys. I know like Theo Stockselius a pretty decent amount. He was kind of like in that range where I think he's probably going to be like a middle of the lineup, bottom sixer, but he's a big guy though, right? Like he's a 6'3" centerman. So that might make up for it a little bit. The other interesting guy too was your 6th rounder, Aiden Lane. I actually watched him a little bit in the playoffs with Brampton because he was playing, I think, at like St. Andrews College. And then when the rule change happened, he ended up going to the Steelheads, and he finished a point per game the last like 13 games of the season. And he was pretty noticeable out there in the playoffs. So I was really curious like to see where he'd end up going, just considering like he was playing at like a sports school like all year, and then he comes to the OHL, and then it's only 13 games, right? Like it's not a huge sample size, but I don't know, maybe he could be something in your bottom 6.
Yeah, when I look at the Flames draft, dude, honestly, like I might be a bit biased here, but I'm honestly very happy with how they drafted. Like you mentioned this Potter kid being one of the best skaters in the draft. Like I love that. Yeah, maybe he's a bit undersized, 5'10" as a centerman for the NHL level, but we've seen it time and time before where guys get drafted as a centerman and move to the wing, right? Like we've already seen it on the Flames with Connor Zary, right? Like he got drafted as a center, and in the NHL he's mostly been a winger so far in his career. What I've noticed about the Flames, and it's really been a trend over the past 2 to 3 drafts, is the Flames are very good drafters, dude. Like they find guys, especially with some of these second, third round picks, even that turn into pretty decent prospects, and they've also done it throughout trades as well, right? Like you look at Hunter Brustevich, the Flames go out and they trade for him. He's looking like he might be a pretty decent player here at some point, and may even get some NHL minutes this year, right? Jacob Battaglia, I'm pretty sure he was last year's draft pick. You got Henry Muse, who's going to Michigan this year, right? Like you got a fair bit of players here that the Flames have drafted who on draft night, you're like, oh yeah, like maybe this guy will crack in the NHL at some point. Where now, like you're looking at a year after they were drafted, and you're like, oh wow, like that was a really good pick. And for me, what the Flames are doing is they're just adding and adding to their young prospect pool. And when you look at their overall prospect pool, like I don't make an argument outside of Perek, they don't really have any top end guys, but they got a lot of those maybe A minus B plus type prospects, and that's going to be pretty good in trades. And when you look at the when you look at drafts, like we all knew that this year's draft class, like unless you were picking within the top 3 to 5, like it wasn't the strongest draft class, right? Next year is the draft class where you want to hit that big home run. And I think the Flames are kind of on pace to do that perfectly, right? Like you get a couple guys in this year's draft class, like they're all lottery tickets, right? Like the draft, it's all a lottery ticket. So you get a couple guys here within the first three rounds, 4 guys, pardon me, and then it's like, all right, let's go out and let's hit that big home run next year and hopefully have a top 5 pick. And for me, the Flames, I think they're kind of on pace for that. Mark, I want to ask you, what's your draft grade for this year's Calgary Flames draft?
Well, one thing I wanted to say before when you were mentioning like you guys have been good drafters, would you not more say like Conroy's been a good drafter? Because I've been kind of like I was thinking this, and then I like went and looked at like the draft history. Like when did Conroy come in? Like 23, 22?
Conroy would have
No,
come in.
23 because Trey Living's only been in Toronto 2 years,
Conroy's
right?
first draft would have been 2 drafts ago, so the 2023
Like,
draft.
do you not feel that like Tree Living really wasn't that great of a drafter for you guys? Like, or do you disagree? Because it's like, okay, I look at 2016. Yeah, you get a home run with Kachuk. You draft Adam Fox, which doesn't end up working out. Dylan Dubé, I mean, eh. And then it's like the next year, Valimaki in the first round, Adam Ruzicka in the fourth. These are guys that just played NHL games. I'm looking at,
Yeah,
right? 2018, you don't have a pick till the fourth round. Martin Pospisil, honestly, pretty good pick. The next year, 2019, it's like Peltier in the first round. Dustin Wolf's a pretty good pick, right? And then 2020, it's like Zari, Jan Kuznetsov, Rory Cairns, Ilya Solovyov, and then 2021's Coronado.
yeah,
Like, I don't know. It's like, I don't think it's terrible, but it's like, I don't really think that, like, I would argue that Conroy has done a much better job drafting than Tree Living has for you guys.
yeah. It's not even close right now for me when I look at it. Like, of course, like you look at the prospect pool, and a lot of these guys that we're kind of talking about here, like haven't played in the NHL yet, right? So it's like maybe they do get there and or flops, or they don't get there at all, right? And things could like look at 5 years down the road, maybe we could be looking back and being like, oh wow, like man, these guys were all way overhyped after they got drafted, right? But as of right now, I think yeah, like Craig Conroy has been a much better drafter than Treliving was. Like Treliving, as you said, I wouldn't say he was a bad drafter, but I don't think there was any like, oh wow, that was a really,
Dustin
really good.
Wolf is the only one that pops
Yeah,
in my head.
that's the only one. And like the Kachuk one that you mentioned, it's like he kind of fell to us, right? It's like if
Yeah.
it's not it's not like a Perek where you're getting him at 9, or even a Henry Muse where you're getting him in the 3rd round, right? Like some of these picks that Conroy's had in his early tenure with the Flames, it's like wow, man, like you took this guy and his the year after the draft. It's like if you're doing a redraft the year after the draft, like some of these guys would be going maybe around, if not 2 ahead of where they were taken, right?
Yeah. I think I'd give an A minus for the 2025 draft
For me,
for you guys.
I'm gonna go with an A. I like given what the Flames had, I'm not I don't know how much better they could have really come out of the draft, right? Like we did lose our 1 pick to Montreal
Yeah.
due to the whole who was that, Sean Monahan trade, right? But I think the Flames, they did a great job. I love Reshny. I think he could have a decent amount of upside, maybe playing on the second line there, ideally as a winger. I think, as I mentioned earlier, next year's the year where it's like, okay, go out and get that generational talent, get that kind of franchise player for the Calgary Flames. Mark, I want to take a look at the lineup now and the big bit of business the Flames still have left to do for the remainder of the summer. Connor Zary, he's an RFA right now, not under contract next year. Feels like an extension's kind of moving pretty slow here with him. What do you What do you think maybe a middle ground is? Like, what do you think he signs for?
Yeah, I mean, I heard a couple. I think I heard on Elliot Freeman's podcast a couple of days ago that there hasn't really been like a lot of like positive conversations about like coming to an extension with Zari. So that makes me think that both sides would probably lean towards a bridge deal at some point, knowing that Calgary probably doesn't want to commit long term at a number they're not comfortable with, and Zari probably feels like he can probably get to a number that's higher, and he would probably want to do that quicker. Um, like I feel like a 2-year deal is kind of like inevitable, to be quite honest. Number wise, it's so tough with the cap going up. Like, what's a recent like you look at like Rossi just signed. I don't think he's as good as Rossi right now,
Yeah.
to be quite honest. I don't think he's got really the resume to ask for that. Like, I'd probably like the thing is though, it's like Frost just got almost 4.5, right? So he can probably ask for Frost, like at least I would think. Like I'd say maybe like 4.5 by 2, maybe. Like kind of just end it, bridge deal. Like we'll come back to this in 2 years. Like he produced more than Frost too, right? And it's like he literally just signed it this summer. It's kind of like a distinct comparable being, I mean, Zari's not always center, like you said, but I mean, he is sometimes. So I feel, I don't know. It's like, is it really that, like, is it kind of nuts to you that they haven't come to an extension, do you think? Like, in the fact that it's like, dude, I could just think of that within like a couple of minutes. I understand there's other factors that go into this, but it's like, when we're using like direct comparables and stuff, like, it doesn't really take that long to kind of like come to a range, right? Like, I wonder if it's Zari, like being like, fuck that, I want a long term deal or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want this like 4 times 2 or something. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I could for sure see that on Zari's half where he maybe wants a bit more security because we were just talking about the Flames, they have a lot of young prospects who are kind of knocking on the door of the NHL, and it's like at some point the Flames are gonna have to include those guys in their plans at the NHL level, right? And like if you're Connor Zary and you do kind of maybe take a 2-year deal here, it's like maybe towards the end of that deal, if a Koreshney is really turning some eyes or Potter's up in the NHL, right? Like maybe the Flames look at Zari and they're like, okay, you're kind of out of our plans now, right? Like I could see Zari kind of holding out to avoid that scenario, but I do think the middle ground is a bridge deal, like a 2 to 3 year deal, 4.5. I wouldn't go over $5 million. I'd go between 4 and 5. I think if you over five, you're starting to pay a bit too much for the player that he is. Like I think he does have a decent ceiling. I think he is going to be a top six player, but I just want to see a bit more from him, right? Last year, I think, was really the year that I thought he was going to break out, but of course, due to injuries and missing some time, he didn't have the most amazing season. But I do like the player he is because he does have some skill, but he does also have a little bit of a grit to him, right? And not afraid to get in the corners, not afraid to mix things up. And I think he's a type of player that a lot of teams like and that the Flames for sure should like. And I think without a doubt, it's the number one priority. Get him signed right now, right? Get him signed.
Yeah, and you guys got the cap space, right? Like, I mean, obviously you want to manage it properly and not give out stupid contracts, but if it turns into like him missing camp and shit, it's just kind of like I just think it's kind of like what are we doing here? Like why is this happening kind of thing, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know, like maybe like my other thought would be like what if Zari's looking at it like fuck, dude, like Frank Nazar just got $45 million and he played 50 something games. He was at half a point a game. Like I want a 6-year deal at 6 mil or something. You know what I mean? Like that's what makes me think what's holding this up, to be quite honest. And I think that's what Rossi wanted. Not exact number, but I think he wanted term. I think McTavish wants term, and I think Zari wants term, to be quite honest. And I
Yeah,
think these teams are a bit weary to give him term right now. Meanwhile, I honestly think it might be the smartest thing to do with the cap going up. What if Rossi starts becoming like a 70, 75 point player, and then in 3 years he's like, fuck. Well, you got to give me like 8.5 now. Like, you know what I mean? Because the cap is like $30 million more. Like, I don't know. With some
yeah,
of these guys, I'd consider going term if they wanted it.
for sure. There's some guys that I think for sure deserve the term. For me, it's just Connor Zary. I just think both for the Flames and for him, a bridge deal is kind of where they should where they should kind of be at, just given what he's done so far in the NHL. Looking at the rest of the Flames lineup, though, as I mentioned earlier, this team has absolutely pretty much no turnover at all. They're running back with the same forwards as last year. Justin Kirkland, he's going to be back in the lineup. He got extended this offseason, so he's going to be going back in there as their 4C after he missed last year with injuries. Looking at their defense pretty much the same as well. We got Zane Parekh though slotted in here on the second pairing mark. There also is, like as we mentioned, the Flames, they also have a lot of young players playing the AHL. Who are some guys do you think maybe that could get some time in the NHL at some point next season?
Yeah, I think that I kind of want to get into more of the team and like probably like the expectations and the outcome like after this, but
Yeah,
you guys do have a lot of young players. Like we talked about like the last couple drafts kind of thing. Like, well, the only guy that's really like probably going to make an impact from that is Zane Parekh, right? That's ready for the NHL. That's under 20 years old. But a couple other guys like I see possibly like maybe not being a full timer, but like getting called up here and there, maybe could take a spot. The first thing I'm kind of looking at, dude, is like the goaltending. Like outside of Wolf, it's going to be an internal competition between Devin Cooley and Ivan Prosvetov for the backup role.
yeah,
Um, I'll be completely honest with you, dude. I don't mind it one bit. I think Devin Cooley has kind of proved himself of being like a top 3 to 5 AHL goalie over the past couple seasons. And he's kind of grinded his way. He's obviously a little bit older. I think he's 28, 29 at this point.
28 years old.
And you look at Ivan Prosvetov, he was never a high pick. He originally came from, I think, Arizona, and then he spent some time with Colorado a couple seasons ago. Went to the KHL last year. Was really good in the KHL. He was kind of viewed as like a pretty highly touted goalie prospect. Like I wouldn't say like more of like one of the elite ones, but he was kind of definitely slotted into being like a good 1B goalie at least. So I don't know. Sometimes with goalies, it takes a little bit of time. Like, dude, he's only 26. And the thing is too, it's like I like that they're trying to utilize like bigger bodies. Like I like the way they did that with Vladar last year. Just because Wolf is a smaller guy, it's like you do
Yeah,
kind of have some other options. Whether it's I might be getting a little bit too much into goaltending, but it's almost like maybe Wolf's getting beat up high too much. It's like you kind of throw a different goalie in there, and it's almost like they're working on like the blocking game instead of like Wolf having to react kind of thing. So I kind of like the internal battle for the goalies. I kind of think that Cooley's going to get it, to be quite honest with you. I wonder if you guys are going to start the season with 3 goalies, maybe just because of like waivers. And like you probably do have the roster capability to do it. But the thing is, you probably have to throw someone like maybe Klapka on waivers. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Just because of roster spots. Klapka is definitely another guy that I think could probably make the team. I know he got extended this summer on a 2-year deal. He's obviously more of like kind of like a bigger fourth line type player. But one guy I'm kind of interested in, dude, to see if he's going to make the team out of camp and stick is Rory Cairns. Like he obviously
yeah,
came up at the end of last year. He's kind of had quite the kind of career arc, I would say. Like he was a pretty late pick in 2020, like 6th rounder. grinded through the AHL for a while. He was one of the top scorers in the AHL, at least on a point per game basis when he was there last year. So I'm wondering if he could come in and maybe steal like a fourth line left wing spot, maybe the 4C spot. But you guys also got some younger players in like Sam Honzik and like Adar Suniev and Jeremy Poirier that I probably think need more time in the AHL, to be quite honest, but I wouldn't be surprised if like they're playing in NHL games this year. Because like Suniev's got like an NHL ready shot, right? Like he's got some parts of his game which are NHL ready, but it's like I'm not convinced the player is yet, and I'm not convinced there's really like a good enough spot in your lineup to give him where he's gonna like develop.
For me, that's the big issue looking at the Flames is that with the roster the Flames have right now is that for all these young guys, like the only area you can really fit them in the lineup is the fourth line. And for some of these guys like Honzik, Suniev, as you mentioned, right? Like there's no, like at that point, just put them in the AHL, give them a bunch of minutes down there, let them grow their game. It's a waste of having them in the NHL to play them on the fourth line. But like I could see an area for sure where maybe we're around Christmas time and the Flames start trading off some of their players and you start bringing some of these young guys up where there's room open, right? Because you look at the Flames right now, you got Coleman on a 2-year deal. I could see a scenario where he gets traded this year. You got Backlund, he's got 1 year remaining. He's the captain of the team, but I think a lot of teams going on playoff runs would love Michael Backlund at.
So you haven't listened to Friedman's podcast, have you?
I have not.
So I was listening to it on Sunday, and he was in Milan for the Players Tour, the European Players Tour thing.
Yeah.
Backlund wasn't one of the interviews, but he said he was having coffee with him. I think he said he was talking about like how good he thought he was at the Johnny Gaudreau thing when he was talking about him. And then he started talking about the Flames and his contract situation. And he said, I don't want to leave, and I want to be there when the new stadium is open, and I want to be playing for the team when the new stadium's there.
Okay, well, that's interesting. I think he stays then. I think I'll have him.
I honestly think too, dude. I think that he probably is going to sign on a cheaper contract. To be quite honest, I probably would have said the same thing if I were you. Like I would have thought, okay, maybe like the center market is so thin, like it's a veteran centerman, like someone could utilize this as
Really
their
good
3.
two-way.
Fuck, dude, if you have him as your 4C, like you're thriving. To be quite honest with you, right?
Yeah.
So, but apparently he wants to be a lifelong Flame, and it's like that probably feels good. I know he's on the back 9, but like I mean, he's your captain. He still wants to be there, right? So I mean,
I'm all for that. I'm all for that. And he's a great guy to have being a vet for these younger guys that are going to come up at some point.
pretty
Right?
interesting though that at like 36 he's like, I want to be playing like when this new venue opens. Like he's still like thriving to like keep playing every year, right? So I mean, it's a guy you want to have around.
2-3 seasons away from even being open, right? So he's really committing to playing well into his late 30s. But like you looking at the rest of the lineup, right? Like a guy like Lomberg, he's got 1 year left on his deal. Maybe he gets traded at some point here. You got Kirkland, who knows with him? He's also a guy that you can sit in the press box, maybe to make some room for a young guy. And then you got Pospisil as well, and this really is a prove-it year for him too, right? He's got one.
Well, I think they actually you guys extended him recently, I think. Over the summer. I don't think I actually wrote it down, but now that I'm looking at it, I'm pretty sure you guys gave him a 3-year extension sometime in July. Which I mean is good for him. I've actually really liked his game a lot, and I think he's kind of fit in well as a fourth liner with you guys.
I like his game too, but
yeah, July 30th, you guys signed him to a 3-year deal at $2.5 million, which is going to be getting in next season. So he's going to be a part of your future, at least for a little bit.
Which is, I have mixed feelings about. Like I have mixed feelings about that because I do like him as the player, but I just think
I think he just brings something that you guys don't have a lot of, though. Lomberg is physical, but like
Yeah,
Pospisil has been very physical the last 2 seasons, right? Like, I mean, the 2.5 might be a bit much. Like, I think for what he provides offensively and stuff, but I do think he kind of brings a little bit to your guys' game that you guys might lack a little bit, right? And we're talking about how like you guys do have some smaller players up front. So I mean, I don't mind the extension. It's maybe a little bit much, but it's still, it's not going to be. You're not going to be looking at it and look at your cap and say, "Oh fuck, dude! Like, why the hell we give Pospisil his 3-year extension?" Right? Like, I think you got bigger extension problems with a couple other guys than Martin Pospisil, right?
yeah, and the way the Flames are going too, they're going to be almost struggling to hit the cap floor at some point. Looking on the back end too, like Rasmus Anderson, he's without a doubt he's gone at some point next season, right?
Seems
Um,
like it.
Mark, I want to ask you, is there any other players here that I didn't really mention that you think could maybe
Honestly, dude,
see in the
I was
door?
kind of curious to like see your thoughts on the team overall because like you said it's basically the exact same roster. Like if we're literally nitpicking, it's like Vladar's out, Anthony Manta's out who barely played any games.
Yeah, I think he
And then
played the
on
first.
defense it's like Parek's coming in. Like that's literally like basically all that happened. And then you're getting an AHL goalie that's coming up and then a guy you signed out of the KHL. How do you obviously last season I know you didn't really kind of want the outcome that happened in accordance to you would have preferred to have been bad, get a better pick kind of thing. Um, do you feel like that could happen this year? Like it's more likely than not that you guys might be a bottom 7 to 8 team in the league if things don't kind of turn out the way it did last year? Because like I will be honest, I like a lot of the players on your team, but I do feel like you guys did overachieve last year, and I think a lot of it had to do with your goaltender, like
Yeah,
bailing you out game in game out. You guys at the same time though, like everyone says, oh, a goalie's bailing a team out. Sometimes the D is bad. Like your D weren't bad. Like defensively, you guys were completely fine. It's not like Wolf was out to dry every game. It's just that he showed up in big moments when you guys couldn't score. And it's like when I look at your team, I'm like, besides kind of like Coronado, I'm just kind of like, and maybe if Kadri does it, it's like, I don't really know where you guys are getting your goals. And that concerns me a lot. And I will be honest, I think there's a couple different guys on this team that I'm looking at, and I'm like, this is kind of your year. Like you need to break through and get back to either what you were or what you can be. One guy I'm
yeah,
looking at, Igor Sharangovich. He came over, had a fucking great season, 30 plus goals, gets a nice extension under $6 million. Well, fuck, dude. What did he have? Like 30 points last year? Like it wasn't a good year for him, right? He's got a big contract. He's got to live up to it. Honestly, one other guy, and he hasn't been there that long, is Joel Farabee. I think he really struggled when he came over, and I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. It's the first time being traded. It's kind of a big move, you know what I mean? But it's like he's kind of getting to the point in his career. It's kind of like what are you exactly?
yeah.
You're a first round pick. You had a huge year a couple of years ago, and you took a step back, right? So I don't know. It's just like I could see a situation where you guys are maybe around what you were last year, but it's like I'm going to be honest. I think you guys are going to get worse. I do, and I think that you're probably going to end up picking top 10. Maybe Wolf just fucking proves me wrong again. Like the thing is, it's like I can see a situation where Wolf is almost as good as he was. And maybe his stat line's a little bit down, but it's like I could see he's almost as good as he is, and you guys are worse,
Oh,
right?
I can for sure see that as well, dude. Because like,
And it's like you're talking about trading Rasmus Anderson, and it's like, oh,
yeah,
ideally, I think that's better for the future. I do, I really do. But it's like your team's going to be worse without him now. Like
yeah,
there's no question, right? So it's like I kind of think that you guys are going to be like a bottom 7 to 8 team in the league. That's just my prediction right now. I don't think you have enough offensively, and I think you're relying on Wolf a little bit too much.
Yeah, I'm all with you on that, dude. I think you nailed it on the head there. Pardon me. I think they're going to be a bottom. Like, I don't know if they'll be bad enough to be like bottom three, but I could see them being maybe bottom five if some of these younger teams take a step up, right? The
And
other thing is,
here's my other thing too. What do you think the odds are that next season Nazem Kadri is going to have 35 goals, 32 assists, and 67
yeah,
points? I maybe the points, but I don't see him scoring 35 goals.
the other thing too is what are the odds like if the Flames do really want to be competitive on day one of opening up this new building, like you gotta start like you really got to go through the rebuild like right now. We already have a decent prospect pool, but we got to get those top end like first line franchise caliber players, right? Like I could even see a world where maybe Nazem Kadri gets traded. I know,
That's what I wanted to ask you about. Like, what do you think about that?
like I don't think it's a for sure thing, but look, with the cap going up the way it's going up, like I could see some teams being interested in him for $7 million a year.
Oh,
It,
I think a lot of teams would be interested in him.
especially if he has a decent year next year as well. Like, yeah, I'm not saying he's going to have the year he had last year, but even if he was, let's say, like 85, 90% of what he was last year, like, I could see a lot of teams being like, oh, we would love Kadri on our second or third line, right? Yeah, I'm with you. I think the Flames, the way I kind of see it is looking at the Flames roster, they got a lot of kind of players that are just filling in here for now. Like there's not one player
And
outside of
some of them
Taylor
have hope
Hall.
though. It's like some of them have potential to like
Yeah.
be a part of your solution in the future, but it's like not all of them are going to be, right? Like it's just the way it is. Like
And then that's where I see the trades. It's like if you're not cutting it out this year, I think that's where we're gonna see guys get traded and sort of open up a door or a pathway for some of these younger guys. Mark, to wrap things up here with the Flames, I just want to ask you quickly here. Dustin Wolf, he's got 1 year left. What is his next deal? What's the AAV?
yeah, I mean you'd probably think that I'd probably think that he would want long term and like you guys would probably want it.
Yep.
Um I mean, there is a possibility of doing an 8-year deal, right? Like, still, I don't know. We talked about 8 times 8. I don't really think it's that crazy, especially if he plays the way that he did this past year. Even though the cap is going up, I feel like it might be like hard to justify being like, give me more than like Hellebuck and like Sorokin. Because it's like, I get the cap's going up, but it's like, to be fair, as good as he is and as young, it's like he hasn't proven like you know what I mean? He hasn't proven a ton yet, right? It's not that he's not going to. It's just like I don't know. I feel like 8 times 8 would be like a nice sweet spot, to be quite honest with you. Because the thing is, it's like I don't know how much other goalies like salaries are really going up. Like the thing is, it's like a lot of the guys were like locked in pretty recently, right? So it's like there's not really a lot of guys like where it's like I'm kind of looking at now and being like, okay, he's kind of up for an extension. Like the only guy that I'm really thinking of next year is Philip Gustafson's going to be up. But it's like
Yeah.
Sorokin signed recently, Shesterkin, Hellebuck, Swayman, Demko, like all these guys have signed, right? Ottinger's like so it's like I don't know. I don't think he's gonna like have a kind of a leg unless he comes out and wins the Vesna. It's like I don't think he's gonna really have a leg to stand on where it's like I don't know, give me 9.5 or something. You know what I mean? Like, would
See,
you be okay with an 8x8? Like, would you prefer a bridge? Like,
I'd go as high as 8 by 9 even, to be
okay.
honest. Like a lot of the guys you kind of mentioned there had signed before the cap was making the jumps that it's making now, right? Like when Hellebuck signed, the cap was kind of not really going up at all, right?
Slightly, but it wasn't like it wasn't
Yeah,
supposed to be like this.
it wasn't going up crazy, man. The other thing too is when Hellebuck signed, he also got a lot of term on his deal to help out that AAV and bring it down a little bit, right? Because I remember when we were talking about it, we were going, "Holy shit, you're gonna be paying him that much until he's a fucking grandpa, pretty much." But yeah,
Yeah.
for me, with the way the cap going up, I'd be comfortable going as high as an 8x9 for Dustin Wolf. I'm with you though. I think an 8x8 kind of fits in there well, right? Like Jeremy Swayman, I think that's a somewhat of a decent comparable. Both guys who had really good seasons, hadn't proven a shit ton. Yeah, there's a bit of an age difference between the two and when they signed, but I think the Jeremy Swayman contract's a decent comparable. Let's take a look now at a team that a year ago they had some of the biggest splashes in free agency. It's the Nashville Predators. This time around, it was mostly done at the draft where they had 3 first round picks and one of those in the top 5. Mark, I think I know what you're going to say here, but how did you feel about their draft?
Um, I mean, minus just like the first pick that they made in the draft. Like, I don't really hate their draft. I just don't really think that they took the best player available at number 5. And I think that if they wanted Brady Martin, they probably could have traded down a couple picks. Like if they wanted him that bad. I mean, like I've told you and other people this stat before that Nashville has never drafted a forward that has put up 65 points for them in a season ever.
Yep.
Right? Philip Forsberg wasn't drafted by them. Duchesne, all these other guys, Ryan Johansson when he was there. And I felt like that needed to change this year. And I feel like when James Higgins is sitting there at number 5, that's literally the type of player that they need. Like people were weary because he's a small centerman who's skilled. The playoffs are going one way. It's not really the build that he has, yada, yada, yada. Listen, dude, not every fucking player on your team is going to be built like a brick shithouse ready for the playoffs. It's just the way it is, dude. Like, I'm sorry. It's like not every single player is built like that. Like, Nashville needs young top end talent. Like their core now that we're talking about that's missed the playoffs last year. Basically, every single guy in that core is 30 years old or older at this point. I'm pretty positive. Saros just turned 30. Forsberg, I think, is either 30 or about to be 30. Then you're looking at Stamkos, Marchessault, Brady Shea, Yossi. These guys are mid-30s, dude. Like, this team's basically like their window is like the next couple years. Meanwhile, they were one of the worst teams in the league last year, right? So I'm looking at it like I more look at it. It's like you're able to bring the potential of a guy that I think James Higgins in his prime will consistently be put over 65 points in the regular season. I think so. I think he's probably going to be at worst like a lower tier 1C, to be quite honest with you. And it's like I don't know if I see the same thing out of Brady Martin, to be quite honest with you. And it's like Brady Martin has a great shot as well. It's not just like the physicality factor. Like there is a reason why like teams were looking at him this high. It's not just like, oh shit, he plays like Sam Bennett. Like Sam Bennett wins, let's draft him 5th. Like he's got other parts of his game which are really good, but it's like I don't think like that the ceiling of like what Brady Martin is like the same thing as like some of the other guys that were kind of on the table. And look, I had Brady Martin rated in the top 10. Like, but it's just like I think he was a tier down from like a couple other guys that like were on the table still. That's just how I feel about it, right? Maybe I'm proven wrong. I've been hearing a lot of shit that they think Brady Martin's making this team out of camp. I think that is a huge fucking mistake, to be honest. I hate rushing players. And dude, it's because of the physicality thing. People think that he's going to go to camp and start pushing guys around, guys that are 30, 31 years old, because to be honest with you, he's probably like, excuse me, like I would say he is probably in the top 30 percentile of like body checkers in the NHL already. Like, I think that's how good of a hitter that Brady Martin is. And I think he's going to go into camp looking like a complete man, ready. And I think that it's just going to be, unless they just do the 9-game thing and send him back, I think it's a mistake if he stays with the team the whole year, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, I'm kind of under the impression too that they're gonna rush him because when you like, as you mentioned, like this team's window really is like the next 2 to 3 years here with the ages of their core. And then the other thing is, dude, this team's so weak down the center of the ice. Like having Martin there, like dude, there's no competition for him within this team.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Would you be that shocked if one of the first games of the season you saw O'Reilly, Martin? I
No,
wouldn't.
no,
I wouldn't
I
be.
want it all. And I'm not, and just because it could be like that doesn't mean it's the right thing. Like
No, not at all.
I think they're gonna do that because they have to, not because they should. I I think realistically, if you're Nashville, you kind of tear things down here. As you mentioned, like this team's window, based off the ages of their core, is the next 2 to 3 years. Yet you just had a bottom a bottom five finish in the league last year. Where's the direction that you're going?
See, I think they also think that it's like they look at their core and they're like, oh fuck, like Martin will be fine. Like he can be protected by these vets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and he's already he's like a physical fucking specimen of a prospect. Like, I'll be honest.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he's huge. He's a fucking farm boy. He works his dick off. Like there's a lot of, I think he's going to be a solid NHL player. I really do. But I think that we're going to look back at this draft in 5 years and kind of be like, why the fuck did they take Martin at 5? Like they could have had like someone else that's really going to help them more. You know what I mean? Like long-term kind of thing. So maybe I'll be wrong. I don't know. I don't really think it was the right decision. I think they needed to prioritize getting like a top end point producer at number 5 because it's like ideally they want to be better this year. So it's like they're not going to get a better fucking draft pick, right? So it's like this is your chance to like take advantage. It's like you look at Boston, it's like I probably don't think they're going to be like bottom 7 again, but it's like they were shit. They accepted it. They took the fucking guy that's going to help them. And it's like, okay, just add him to the team kind of thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like we got a good guy at the opportunity that we had. You know what I mean? And I think that Nashville's going to look back and he's going to be more of like a surrounding piece instead of being like the main piece or like one of the
Yeah,
main
and
pieces, right? Because I'm sorry, you look at Sam Bennett and it's like, he's not the main piece, dude. Like,
no.
he's probably like the 5th or 6th best forward on the team. Like, when you're looking at it, right? And there's no problem with that. But it's just like when you're drafting, even if you go back to Sam Bennett's draft, it's like, would you be taking him 4th overall? Like, probably not.
No, if it
You know what I mean? Like,
draft,
so,
no.
and there's nothing against it, but it's just also like, I don't know. For Nashville, I agree. I think that they should start going in the direction of selling assets. The problem is a lot of these guys have like no move clauses.
And the ones that do, Barry Trotz has handshake deals that he won't trade them.
Right. So do you feel that like if they do start off bad again and it's like American Thanksgiving, do you think that he starts having these conversations again with these guys? Just being like, fuck, like it wasn't just a one-off, like this really isn't working. Like, would you prefer to go elsewhere? Because it's like, dude, I look at a guy like Jonathan Marchessault, okay? And I think that he could really help a lot of teams.
Yep.
And I would be comfortable, maybe not with like the Canadians, but like if I had a need in my middle 6 for goals and I'm okay with acquiring an undersized forward, I personally, with the cap going up, I don't have an issue giving Marchessault $5.5 million. I really don't at all, right? So does that happen? Is that a conversation that starts? Like, I have a feeling that this team is going to start trying to surround their vets with some of these young prospects that they've drafted over the past couple of years. Like last year, Fedor Svechkov got a lot of time playing up the middle. He was like in the 20s, like he was drafted in the 20s a couple of years ago. Maybe he ends up being a top 6 forward. Maybe he's more of a middle 6 guy. Like, I think I honestly think if it's like not Brady Martin, like Fedor Svechkov's their second line center this year, I think he's going to get a ton of opportunity. I look at a guy like Joakim Kemmel. I think that he's going to get a ton of opportunity this year with the Preds, probably playing in the top 9. I remember being so high on him when he was drafted, and I don't think his development path has kind of been the same as I would have kind of hoped. Excuse me. And then like on defense, I don't know. They made 2 moves, right? Like this season, they go out and sign Nick Perbix, which I thought is a decent ad. I mean, he's more of like a third pairing guy, but I mean, they're not really giving him too much money, too much term. But dude, I look at the Nick Hague trade, and I'm just kind of like I don't understand it for Nashville. I get that you're getting the younger, bigger player, but I'll be completely honest with you. This team somehow in the past 6 months has gotten even thinner at center.
Yeah.
When they traded Tommy Novak and now Colton Sissons, and they're trading Jeremy Lauzon, who was injured a lot last year, but he's one of the most physical defensemen in the NHL. Like I'm pretty sure he had the most hits in a single season for a defenseman the year before last year.
Yeah, he did.
And it's like, I'm almost like, I look at Lauzon and Hague and they're different, but I'm almost like, they're pretty comparable. And then I'm like, you're adding in Colton Sissons, a center, who I get it. Colton Sissons isn't nothing to like, it's not, we shouldn't even be having a huge conversation about him, but it's like, you gave Vegas another depth player at fucking half retained who's going to help them. He wins faceoffs. It's like, why are we making this trade for Nashville, dude? Like, you bring in Eric Holla, who didn't have a point in 27 fucking games last year in a row. It's like, I just don't understand the moves and how Trotz really thinks this team is better. Because to be honest with you, like I look at their 1 through 4 center. Is there any worse in the league?
No. I don't even think it's close, to be honest.
Because Ryan O'Reilly to a lot of people is like a 2C and maybe even a 3C, where depending how you really look at it, I'd probably give him the benefit of doubt if like he could be a top 6 center. But it's like, it's not even like you have a 1C and then it's like drop off. It's like you got a 2C and then you've got a developing center. You've got honestly, Hall is like a 4th fucking liner. And then Michael McCarron's like an in and out NHL player. I'm trying to think in my head right now. It's like, I'm thinking of some of the worst teams in the NHL. And I'm not convinced that their centers are worse than Nashville's.
I don't even think it's close to as you said, Ryan O'Reilly's your best centerman. He's a 2, maybe a 3C. Like, let's be honest. On a Stanley Cup winning team, he's a 3C.
Yeah.
I don't think he's close to a 2C on a Stanley Cup winning team, to be honest.
And that's even worse. He makes it even worse.
But like, okay, when he went to the Leafs didn't even win a Stanley Cup. They got bounced and.
No, like I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying like it makes the whole situation worse.
Yeah, like I think you can make an argument that they got a second. I'll be generous and say they got a second line center, and you got a 4th line center, and then you got maybe a couple AHL centermen. Like unless somebody like takes a massive step or overperforms or something, like I don't really think they have.
See, I look at Fedor Svechkov and I think that he's going to take steps, and he's probably going to be like at least a 3C by the end of the year. But it's like that still doesn't really help you. Like it helps you if you have a good surrounding cast of players. Like that's why I never understood the Bunting trade either, because I'm like, Tommy Novak's actually fucking decent. Like he had like 50 points the year before. He was kind of struggling last year, and it's like center market is so fucking thin. Why are we trading Tommy Novak? He's 25 years old. Like I don't understand what Barry Trotz is doing with this team, dude. Like it makes no sense. Like that fucking U2 run they went on. Like, we talk about how Seattle making the playoffs destroyed their franchise. Them not going to the U2 concert maybe has destroyed this franchise, dude.
Yep.
I think we need to start talking about this.
Oh no, I'm with you on that, dude. I want to ask you something here. Does Barry Trotz make it to next year's draft? Because me personally, I don't think I don't think so.
That's a good question, dude. Okay, I would say for sure that Brunette is gone first, like maybe 20 games into the season.
Yeah.
He's on what now? This is going to be a full third year. Okay, I'll say like if they are bottom 8 in the league, I could see it. But if they're like fighting for a playoff spot, like and kind of in the mix, I would say probably not.
See, the way I'm looking at it is I think this team, like I genuinely think this team is going to be drafting top 5 again next year.
Really?
Yep.
See, the one thing that I think that like does have an effect that that could change it is like, I'll be honest with you, I think the last 2 seasons Saros has been kind of below average. I don't really think he's been that standout top 10 goalie in the league that he has been. So it's like, you've seen it firsthand with your team. It's like, dude, if he goes on a fucking Linsanity run, like they could be fighting for a playoff spot, right? And it's like he's got the capabilities of doing it. So it's like, I'm not like 100% sold they're going to be like bottom 5, but I don't think they've got a fucking shot of making the playoffs. Like, you can't tell me this center depth is going to get them into the playoffs.
No, I don't think it's close. Like I think bottom 5 is probably their lowest, but I think maybe more realistically they're kind of in a similar area to the Flames where maybe you're kind of 7, 8, 9, maybe more around there. It's just I just look at this team and for me it's the center depth. Where are you getting these goals from?
Do you think there's a possibility that they try to get Stamkos to go back to center? If it gets that bad?
I could see that.
I think it's not something they want to do, but I think that like we could be looking at it as like this is like a possibility, dude.
Something they have to do, yeah. I rather that over Brady Martin being your 2C next year and just destroying his development.
I think the problem too that I look with this team is like say it, like everything kind of happens like that we're saying, right? Like they're pretty bad. Let's say they're bottom 5 to 8 in the NHL around deadline. Like, yeah, they had 3 first-round picks last year. We didn't really get into the other ones. When I said I didn't really mind their draft overall, it's like Cameron Reed at 21, not really a bad pick. Puck-moving defenseman who's a little bit undersized. Riker Lee, like he's a pretty good sniper from the USHL. Like maybe he ends up being like a middle of the lineup, maybe top 6 player. Jacob Rombach's like a huge defenseman that played in the USHL last year. Like he's probably one of those guys you look at and he's like probably gonna be like a solid like bottom pairing guy in the future. Alex Huang's like an undersized like puck moving guy from the Q, right-handed shooting. So it's like I don't know, dude. Like a lot of these guys, the only guy I didn't really know was their guy in the last round, like Daniel Niemanen. It's like I don't really mind some of these picks, dude. I'll be quite honest with you. I just think that the Brady Martin one was kind of a little bit of a stretch. Like I think I had Riker Lee ranked like low 30s and Cameron Reed like 25. So it's like it's pretty close to kind of where I had these guys projected, right?
And you also got Ivan Kovic.
Right. I actually like the Ivan Kovic pick a lot. And I think that the one cool thing about that is that we're talking about an undersized goalie who's going to be mentored by, I'm going to say, the best undersized goalie in the league. I know Dustin Wolf's up and coming, but like with UC Saros, you know what I mean? So he's kind of got someone to kind of look up to in that way and be mentored with. Right. But it's like a lot of their other good prospects that have been kind of drafted over the past couple of years, been developing, a lot of them are going to be making like that NHL step this year, I think, at least. Like I think Kemmel's getting a spot. Like Fedor Svechkov played half the year in the NHL, half in the A. I think he's going to be a full-time NHLer. Justin Barron, I know he wasn't like drafted and developed guy, but I think it's a big year for him, dude. Like just being traded over from Montreal. He might even get a shot in the top 4, like depending. The way I've got their lineup is like Shea, Yossi, and then Haig with Perbix, because it's like I just don't think that they gave Nick Haig $5.5 million to play on the third pair. That's just what I think, right? And Yossi has the capability of playing the right side. Then the only other guy that I don't have like the other 2 guys I don't have projected like making the team that could make the lineup is one Matthew Wood. I think he was like a 16th overall pick a couple years ago. He's really good friends with Bedard. He's from like Western BC. Fucking huge dude. I think he's 6'5". He excuse me, he kind of struggled when he came in NCAA a couple years ago, and then he transferred and then he put up like a point per game. So a lot of people were kind of like, what is this guy exactly? But he's kind of seems like he's made strides to develop better. I'm not convinced he's ready for the NHL. I don't think his skating's there, but it's like, dude, we're talking about a team who's like trying to get in, like they know their window is now. They want to surround with young players. Like, do they rush a guy like this? And it's like, I don't know if you're probably familiar a little bit with Tanner Molendijk. He's been on the World Junior team a couple years ago. Incredible fucking skater, dude. Like, I think there's a possibility that he plays a decent amount of games with this team, right? Like, I think they want to inject the youth because they know that a lot of these older guys don't have the foot speed, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I think they're going to have a huge mix of vets and young guys this year. Meanwhile, I'm not really convinced a lot of these young guys are ready to take the step.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, dude. And it's that for me, that's just why I have this team kind of finishing similar to where they finished last year. Is just
One positive thing I will say though, Aiden Fink, one of their prospects they're drafted in the 7th round. He was fucking good last year at Penn State, over a point per game. Really bro, he's going to be playing on the other wing with McKenna. So I would say keep an eye on him for having a huge other pop-off season. He might even be one of those guys that signs at the end of the season and makes his debut with the Preds. And you know what's fucking crazy, dude, is that you probably don't remember this, and our listeners probably don't, but Aiden Fink was a 7th rounder. He was playing in the AJHL at the time when he got drafted. And the pick got to Nashville because New Jersey, I remember I was watching the draft. New Jersey had the pick, and this draft was
it was Poile's last pick, right?
Yeah, it was his last draft, and Barry Trotz called Fitzgerald, and he said, "Is there any way we can do a pick swap? Like, I'll give you a 7th next year or whatever, and we just want Poile to make one pick like himself." And he drafted Aiden Fink in the 7th round, dude. And this guy looks like he's going to be an NHLer, dude. Like, it's fucking crazy that, like, Poile's still making these picks, like, right up to the end, dude. Because, dude, I'll be honest, he was a hell of a GM for drafting, dude. Like, especially defensemen. Like, he was a fucking wizard drafting.
The funny thing about that, too, is I'm pretty sure that draft was in Nashville as well.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Speaking of the draft, Mark, I want to get your draft grade for the Nashville Predators this year.
Just because I think the Brady Martin pick has a lot of stock, because I'd say, like, say I didn't like Rombach in the 2nd round, it's like I wouldn't value that as high as like a top 5 pick, right? So I'll be honest, I'm gonna go with a B, just because I think the Martin thing has a big effect on it. Maybe I'd lean towards a B plus, but like I think B is fair, just because I think they made a huge mistake with this 5th overall pick.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to go with a B as well. I love the Ivan Kovic pick, getting him late in the 2nd round. Like, this is a goalie that is maybe a 1st round talent based off how he performed at World Juniors. The Brady Martin pick, it's tough because I like the player a lot. It's just, if they pick him at 7, it changes my opinion so much on the
See,
draft.
the thing is, if Hagens and Martona are on the board, I don't mind this pick.
Yeah, like if you're picking him at 7 or 8, it's like, man, like that's a good pick. It's just the fact that you picked him at 5, you didn't trade back. Like, this was the big pick that you needed to hit on, and it just doesn't feel like they hit on. So I'm gonna give them a B minus for their draft.
Okay.
Um, Mark, overall offseason grade, what are you giving them?
Oh. Dude, all these you asked me, it's so hard because like a lot of the teams legitimately didn't like do shit.
Yeah, I
So it's
know.
like literally just like, was it better for them to stand pat or like should they have like done something kind of thing? Um, the Novak thing was last deadline, so that doesn't really count. Perbix, Haig, draft. I'm gonna go with a C.
Yep. I think I'm gonna match you
C.
with that. Give them a C.
The only thing I literally like don't mind was the Perbix deal and like the draft wasn't like terrible.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Like so I don't know. But like I mean most of their offseason was pretty bad. I don't know. Like I don't like I said I don't understand the Hag trade. I don't understand getting Holla in like it just like a lot of their moves just don't really make sense. Like they didn't like it's not like they went out and they like tried to like address the center position like even dude if they went out and got Marco Rossi like even if they weren't like a playoff shoe in I would be like all right like, that's a guy that you know he could
It's a
be there for a
massive
while
upgrade. Yeah.
he could help fuck he might even be able to play in 1C over O'Reilly at times right so I just think like the positional need that they needed the most they got worst at.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree with you. I'm going to give him a C as well, just because of that. And like, even in free agency, like, how have you not
Nick
gone out
Perbix,
and
bro. That's all they did.
more for the centerman though? Like, how have you not gone out and signed a free agent centerman? And I'm not even saying like a top one, like a Granlund, but even like Jack Roslovic is still a free agent right now.
I'd be fine with them bringing in Jack Roslovic, dude.
I think if you bring in Jack Roslovic, he's probably your third line center right now.
They would have been another team that I wouldn't have minded if they gave Christian Dvorak $5.5 million.
Yeah, like guys like that, it's like I don't get how Nashville didn't even at least target one of those guys, let alone none. So for that reasoning, I'm giving them a C as well with you. Let's move out to the East now with one of the top remaining RFAs, the New Jersey Devils. They could be handing out a lot of money here, Mark, to get Luke Hughes signed. I want to start off by asking you, what does a deal for Luke Hughes look like?
Um, I think that I feel like as a Devils fan, you would probably want this not to be a bridge to
Yeah.
kind of quote unquote burn bridges with the player. Um, Also, just because like Jack's up in 5 years, right?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
don't really know the whole Quinn thing. Like, I mean, you could sit here and say, yeah, he's going to the Devils, but I mean, there's also a salary cap, and like, I mean, he never actually said it himself. Like, I don't know. Like it doesn't mean just because he wants to play with them that it's going to happen this time. It might happen when they're older, right? Like, so my thing is, it's like I think it would entice like even Jack to re-sign more if like Luke was getting a 7 or 8 year deal. You know what I mean? Knowing that like when he's done in 5, like I think the worst thing they could possibly do is give Luke Hughes a 5 year deal. Like them being
Yeah.
up in the same year and they can almost like decide collectively like if they want to leave. Like I think that'd be a disaster, dude. Um I would try personally to give him an 8 year deal. I think that he's got the skill set. I think that he's a big guy who skates really well. And I'm sure I think this year is going to get opportunities to run the first power play. Um, so I saw some comparables to kind of like not necessarily who Quinn Hughes plays like, but more of the situation coming off of an ELC. Some comparables I saw Moritz Seider, 8.55 times 7. I've seen Jake Sanderson just over 8 million for 8 years. I know that their camp has been trying to use Brock Faber. I know Luke Hughes probably isn't as good defensively, but Faber was still putting up around the same amount of points. I think Luke
Yeah.
Hughes, I think his points were like 48 and 44, but this year he missed about 11 games. So he's kind of like on track for the same amount, around 50 points. So I think at the end of the day, if you are going 8 years, I think it's going to be in the eights, to be quite honest with you, with the cap going up. But I don't know. Like, do you think the Devils don't want to do it? Like, I don't know what they're kind of thinking here. Or like, does Luke want even more? Like, it's like I don't really know what.
I think
Like the thing is, it's like another direct comparable. Like, okay, we're talking about the cap going up, right, and signing. Like, if you want to use a comparable, who he's obviously not as good as, like Dobson got 9.5, right?
yeah.
Like Dobson has proved more in his career than Luke Hughes has. Like Dobson had a 70-point season 2 years ago. He basically had the same amount of points last year in a down year that Luke Hughes had. So it's like, in my mind, it's like, I don't think Luke Hughes can even be like asking for 9. Like, I think that's a little bit like, you know what I mean? Like, I
A little
would
bit
take even
underneath.
Sider and Sanderson in Faber over Luke Hughes right now. But it's like, I'm also thinking about like when the contract was signed. Like, Sanderson has turned into a stud, in my opinion, right? And it's like that's a hell of a fucking deal for him. But it also like wasn't an absolute gamble when it was signed, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, what do you think? If he was like, I will accept 8x8, like what Jack took, like, would you sign that?
If I was New Jersey, I would sign that in a heartbeat, dude. Like
Yeah.
the cap's going to be going up. Yeah, it might be rough for a year or two cap wise, like when you still got Dougie there making 9. Because then it's like if Luke Hughes is making 8, you got Hughes, Hamilton, Jack Hughes, Timo Meyer, Jasper Bratt, and Nico Hischier all making over $7
Do you want to
million
hear my
dollars a
hot
year.
take about the Devils?
What is it?
Dougie Hamilton's not a Devil by Christmas.
See, and that's almost where I'm wondering is what's holding up the deal is
I
if
think
you
I I think that they're trading Dougie Hamilton for a top 6 forward. That's what I think.
see, I'm with you on that because you got Nemec coming up, you got Silyev who's going to be coming up here at some point as well. Like they got some pretty decent. You got Seamus Casey as well.
They
Like
just
you got
gave
some,
Jonathan Kovacevic a 5-year deal, dude. Like,
yeah, it's
their
like
right side is fucking jammed.
you got to free it up, and then it's also like is that what's holding up the deal right now? Is that New Jersey's kind of waiting it out and trying to move Dougie before you sign Luke Hughes? Because like, if I'm New Jersey, I think the worst thing you can do, as you said, is sign Luke to a bridge deal because then it's you got him and Jack who are going to be up within a couple years of each other. Who knows? And maybe they fucking pull the ultimate 360 and go, oh no, we're actually going to go to Vancouver and join Quinn there. But the other reason why I really think you don't do a bridge deal if you're New Jersey's. You got the cap going up. The last fucking thing you want is to give Luke Hughes a bridge deal, have him absolutely pop off, and then all of a sudden it's you're going from the $8 to $9 million range to now you're talking about $10 to $11 million, right? Like it happened with Buffalo and Rasmus Dahlin. He took a bridge deal. He bet on himself, performed amazing, and he really made the Sabres pay for that financially, right? It's like Luke Hughes. I think he's a player that could do that if you put him on a bridge deal. So if I'm New Jersey, go out, give him. I'd give him 8. I'd give him 8.5 right now. Like if 8.5 was to get it done, I'd give him 8.5. I'd go over 8. But I'm with you though. I don't know if I'd go to the late eights and definitely not 9. I don't really think I want to be paying him and Dougie a combined $18 million a year.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? Um, The Devils overall have a pretty solid decor. Like when I look at
Yeah,
it,
they do.
like top to bottom, like I would definitely take their decor over a lot in in the league. But I also kind of believe that trading Dougie Hamilton is probably the right move, dude. Like he's going from a full no move clause to like a partial no trade clause. This is literally like an opportunity where you could probably get a top six forward for him potentially, right? Like, I mean, they were already talking about getting a good third line center, and they haven't done that yet either, right? Like they got rid of Holla because they thought that he sucked because he did, right? And it's like right now, top six left wing, we've got like Arseny Gritsyuk, the kid guy who's coming over from Russia, who's like 24. So it's like sometimes those guys turn out, sometimes they don't. But
Yeah.
as a Devils team who's been kind of striving to get better, like I'm not really convinced they're better. Like to be honest with you at all. Like, I mean, I don't mind the Connor Brown and the Dodonov ad for the bottom six, but I still feel like they're at least up front, like minus like maybe Timo Meyer and like Nason, like they're pretty easy to play against. They don't scare me physically at all
Yeah.
up front, right? Um, so like they do a lot of skill though. Like Jack Hughes stays healthy. Jesper Bratt's pretty underrated for the most part. Like maybe they're a little bit better, but like I'll be completely honest with you. Like if they're going into the season like this, like first off, I'm not even 100% convinced they're a playoff team because like with the Rangers like being better, it's like are five teams making it in the Atlantic? Like what's gonna happen this year, right? Like it's basically like are they could you see them being the worst out of the Rangers, Montreal, and Ottawa?
I could see that, but I could also see them kind of having a bounce back year because they did have a tough year last year with injuries and just like they just overall had a down year, right? Like if Jack, I'll say this: if Jack Hughes is back for all this season, I don't know if they're that much worse, even with what they have right now. I'm with you though. I don't think this is the roster they should be going into the season with, at least deep in the season with, because it's like you could add on your forward group, and right now, like there's no path for Nemec playing in the NHL. You,
That's
this
why they
guy's
got
a,
to trade Dougie Hamilton, dude. I'm
this guy's a
telling you.
21-year-old defenseman who was a second overall pick and has no opportunity right now in the NHL. It's like you either have to trade him or you got to trade Hamilton this year. And to be honest, I think I'd rather trade Hamilton and give Nemec an opportunity. And then with that, you still got Seamus Casey somewhere as well, right? Like he's kind of knocking on the door of the NHL as well. I think probably start him in the AHL, but he's a guy maybe that you could get an opportunity, right? For me,
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
it
I
is
don't
a big
know.
question mark though, the Devils and what they're going to be this year. Like, are they kind of going to bounce back? Because 2 years ago, this was a team that we all thought had one of the brightest futures in the NHL, right? And then after what they kind of did last year, I think it changed a lot of our minds on maybe what they are and what their future is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, they've been kind of one of the teams that I've been kind of waiting a little bit because I out of a lot of teams in the league, I think that the Devils are going to be doing something because they also only just got over $6 million in cap space too, and we're talking about Luke Hughes getting in the eights. I felt like one move that could have happened earlier and maybe was even a buyout candidate was Andre Palat to get $6 million cleared off your books. I think that's probably something that they would like to do if they could. But if you're able to make a Dougie trade, like I know it's a lot of money, but it's like you're probably trading with a team that's going to give you a significant piece back, right? So like that team's probably like not really taking the 9 mil on fully, right? If they're giving salary back. So I think like dude, like and it's like they're still, I would argue, dealing from a position of strength. Like
Yeah,
right-handed
for sure.
defensemen are not fucking falling on trees, dude. Like I think a lot of teams would be interested in Dougie Hamilton.
Oh, I'm with you on that. I think there's a lot of teams that would be interested in him, even at the $9 million. And like it's 3 years too with the cap going up. Like I could see a lot of teams that maybe are kind of on the edge of the playoffs who have a bit of cap space or are trying to go out and get them.
I wonder if they could swing a deal. I feel like an ideal trade for them with Dougie Hamilton would be if they could get a solid top six forward and like a third line center. Like I think that like that would be like an ideal fit. Like just maybe like a veteran. To be honest with you, dude, one guy I feel like would be awesome with this team would be Ryan O'Reilly. I
Yeah,
think he'd be a great 3C, dude, to be
yeah,
quite honest.
playing behind
But it's like
defense.
I don't think Nashville's taking Dougie Hamilton. Like it's not really.
Yeah, it
But it's
doesn't
like
make
I'm
sense.
just thinking like if they want to even spend other assets to get a 3C and like O'Reilly was willing to move, dude. Imagine Hughes, Heischer, O'Reilly. I think that's
Yeah,
fucking good, dude.
that'd be really tough going up against every night. I want to take a look at their draft now, Mark. This is a team that really did not have much draft capital. Their earliest pick was 50th in the draft. Mark, how did you kind of feel about their draft?
Yeah, I mean it is kind of harder to judge when like you don't really have a top pick and like you don't pick until 50. Um, I'm pretty familiar with most of the guys they picked in this year's draft. Like Conrad Fonderk, like there was some questions about him, whether he'd be a first rounder this year. I think honestly, dude, I've kind of watched him a bit. I just feel like he's got skill, but he's a little bit lazy. So it's like I just don't know if that's like something that's gonna like fixable within his game or not. Benjamin Keevan, I think he was the rookie of the year in the USHL in 2024. There was a lot of hope for him, and honestly, I think that that's actually a really good pick at 63. I think he probably could have went within the top 40. Mason Moe and Gustav Hillstrom, two Swedish guys. Moe was playing in the USHL last year. I think he kind of more just projects of being like a fourth line center. Like he's a little bit of a bigger body. And Gustav Hillstrom as well. I think that he was kind of in the range that Moe was. So I kind of like that pick in the fourth round, to be quite honest with you. The one interesting one, I didn't really know a lot about him until he was drafted. They drafted a 6'8" goalie named Trenton Bennett.
Yeah,
He played in the CCHL for most of last year, and then he went to Owen Sound for the last like fucking 7 games of the year or whatever, and he had a 923 in 5 games while going 1-4. So maybe you got something there, maybe you don't. The thing is with him too, though, is he's an overager. So I felt like that was kind of a strange reach in the fourth round for a goalie like that, especially wasn't playing in like the top tier junior league all year. I don't know if you kind of get what I'm saying. Like, I feel like that's
I
kind of a guy you might
completely
be able to get
understand
in the
that.
6th round, maybe the 7th round. But I mean, he is a big guy. So, I mean, we'll see what ends up happening. It's kind of a hard one to judge just because they don't really have the top talent. I like the Ben Keevan pick quite a bit. I'd probably just give them like a B minus. Like, I mean, I don't really think there's kind of anything good enough to like give them a really good grade, but I don't really think there's anything that's that terrible either. It's
Yeah,
hard to judge, right? When it's not like when there's some guys you don't even know really who they are, or like
yeah.
you don't get to watch them a ton kind of thing. But yeah, like I mean, they're probably like in the middle, like of teams, like in accordance to like draft grading.
I'm gonna give them a B. For what they had. Like they didn't with having your first pick being 50th, like you can't really go out and make any splash unless you're making a trade for a pick, right? But New Jersey's not really like they don't need to do that. They already got guys in the system or they got guys in the NHL. Like they're a team that's trying to compete now. So for me, I'm gonna give them a B. Mark, what are you gonna give their overall off-season grade?
Yeah, I mean, more of their moves. I mean, like probably one of their biggest moves isn't done yet, signing like the RFA. Um, they bring in Brown, they bring in Dadonov, they bring in Gritsyuk from Russia. Kind of curious to see what he could end up being. Like he's 6 foot, but like
Yeah.
24, but still like a point per game almost in the KHL, right? So I'm pretty sure he's like boys with Demidov. I think that I'm pretty sure they played with in SKA together last year. Um, they re-signed Cody Glass.
Jake Allen as well.
Jake Allen, that's actually a really good contract.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with a C plus, dude. I kind of
Yeah.
like their contracts, but I don't think they've really acknowledged their biggest needs.
See, for me, I'm
And
giving
and they
them,
also haven't signed Quinn Luke Hughes. Like
yeah.
I can't give them I can't be positive about that.
For me, I'm gonna give them a B minus right now. I think for me, it's similar. It's like Luke Hughes, get him signed. They still got a bit of time though before training camp starts off, of course, though, right? Like if it
Yeah.
goes into training camp, then yeah, my grade's going down a fair bit. But I think with with the Jake Allen contract, like that is one of the contracts of the offseason. I think overall, this is a team that's pretty well set to go into next season outside of maybe a few areas. I'm going to give them a B minus.
Okay.
Let's move on and talk about Mitch Marner, who's one of the biggest UFAs to leave their team in recent years. And that means the Toronto Maple Leafs, they had a big hole to fill this offseason. Mark, looking at the Leafs roster and kind of how they've replaced Mitch Marner so far, how do you feel they've kind of done with that?
Obviously, like it's difficult and to replace a player of that caliber.
Yeah.
Um, I do feel that it was kind of the right move and time to kind of part ways. Um, I think that Tree Living's done a pretty solid job for the most part. Um, in accordance to replacing guys and maybe like I like the Joshua ad like for playoff time. I don't really know exactly what he's going to perform like in the regular season. I know he had around 20 goals a couple years ago. Last year, the production really tailed off, but he also was dealing with cancer last year and he missed camp. You never know if that really plays an effect of the production. Maybe he's going to come in rejuvenated this year. I will be honest with you, dude. I like the Michelli ad quite a bit. I think it's really low risk. Like he didn't play well last year and he was scratched a lot, but he also had over 50 points the year before. And it's like I think he's going to be put in a real opportunity to succeed. And honestly, dude, like would you really be surprised if he's getting first power play time sometimes?
Um, Not overly, maybe a little bit, but I
Depends.
could
I mean,
see
sometimes probably.
I could see I could see at times, and if there is maybe an injury or two, I think he will get a bit of opportunity there on the first power play.
I just think regardless, it's going to be pretty difficult for him to replicate like 18 points like he did
Yeah.
last year. Um, Defense, they're looking basically the exact same. The only difference was Henry Thrun's coming in and that Ryan Reeves deal, who's probably might even end up in the AHL. Besides that, like I mean, the Nyes contract extension is really good. I think for 6 years under 8 mil, I think that he's going to exceed that, and you'll be providing some surplus value on that contract. Getting Nicola Waugh as well in that trade with Marner. I mean, obviously you're not getting value for Mitch Marner, but I think he's a guy who's played in Vegas's middle six for quite some time. He's pretty versatile at the same time. I don't think that's a bad contract or a bad player to bring in. I still just don't really know. Like it's kind of like the cliche with this team. Like you can't really tell until playoffs. Um, like I guess I would just say like roster wise, they seem more ready, but is it going to be enough?
Yeah.
Right?
It's like roster wise, like looking at their roster, their third line this like going into next season with Joshua, Lawton, and Waugh, 1,000 times better than the third line of last year. Like not even comparable, right? But
Yeah.
but now the question mark is how's the top end talent going to be? Like are you going to be missing Marner and his point production at all, right? Now that's kind of where my head goes a bit. for me, I don't think that's going to be a massive issue. Like Neil, like you still got some big dogs. Like you got Nylander, Matthews still. Nyes, like can he even take another step? Because if Nyes can even take another step of what he was this year, it's like that's going to be a massive part in not feeling that pain of losing Mitch Marner, right? Overall, though, I think the Leafs did a really good job, kind of with what they did to replace him. Like bringing in Michelli, I agree with you. I think that's very low risk with pretty high upside. This is a guy that's going to be playing on the second line with Nylander and JT, right? Like this is a guy I could see putting up 60 points and everybody's like, holy shit, like what a steal. And then on the third line, you bring back Lorenz on a nice cheap little deal. I thought he was very good last year on the fourth line, playing down there.
Yeah.
You got Camp, and then you got McMahon. For me, I don't know how I feel about McMahon on the third, or pardon me, on the fourth line there. I just don't think he's the way he plays, or his play style doesn't really suit playing on the fourth line. But this is just how we have it slotted. Who knows how things change. Looking at some of the players though that are kind of there knocking on the door, Mark. What do you think happens with Easton Cowan?
Um, okay, so I've been kind of looking at the Leaf situation a little bit here. I think one thing that people don't realize is, dude, the Leafs have to make a trade. Like they're basically forced to. And I'm not just saying that because it's like Robertson, Myers, Thrun, Yarncroke, Pizzetta. Dude, they can't just send like David Camp to the AHL. Like the AHL has a rule for like the amount of veterans you can have on your team. And if a guy has played over like 320 professional games, they're considered like an AHL veteran. And the Leafs have right now, like on their AHL expected roster, like they're maxed out at the amount of veterans they have. So they can't. I'm pretty sure Pizzetta could go down because I don't think he's played 320 games, to be quite honest. Maybe he has though with AHL. I'm not even 100% sure. But it's like they can't just send down like Callie Yarncroke or like Camp
Yeah.
if they go through waivers, or Nick Robertson, dude. Like they actually have to make a trade even though they are under the cap. So I'm kind of curious who that's going to end up being. I'm kind of thinking it's going to be Yarncroke, to be quite honest with you. I think that someone would take on $2.1 million for him to have them on the team. Not that I don't think he's ready, but I think it's kind of like inevitable that Easton Cowan's starting in the AHL, especially like what you talked about, like that third line. And it's like, okay, so where is he fitting in the top six then? Like, I don't really know. Like maybe Domi's spot, but then where the fuck's Domi going? Like he'd probably be going to the third line. Like, you know what I mean? So, not that I think he's going to be there all year, but I think that it's probably pretty likely that he's an AHLer to start the season, regardless if it's deserved or not.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Like, unless he comes out and has like an unbelievable training camp where he's too good that the Leafs have to give him somewhat of an opportunity in the NHL to start the season, I think you got to start him in the AHL.
And that's why I also think like Henry Thrun's going through waivers too, because he's not a veteran. And it's like Phil Myers is a veteran. So it's like they're going to have to send down Thrun over Phil Myers. Right.
Yep.
So I think a trade, maybe even two, is coming for the Leafs, regardless if it's very minimal or not, just because of the amount of players they have on their roster. I think it's just going to be a question of who's it going to be. And then we haven't even talked about like Robertson. He got a new contract. I got him penciled in the press box right now, to be quite honest with you. Not that I think he's that bad, but I don't really see a spot on this team for him right now, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, unless you're maybe taking McMahon out and throwing Robertson in there. But
Don't you
for
just
me,
think they should trade him at this point, dude? Like, what the fuck is this? Like,
I think
I
they
don't
should,
know.
but it's like they're probably like, oh, we don't want to. This is a guy that we really thought had a lot of potential. We don't want to trade him for what, a fifth round pick maybe that you'd get back for Robertson right now. Like I don't think you'd get back. And
Yeah,
maybe a bit
yeah.
more
I
than a
was thinking a
fifth round
fourth,
pick,
to be
but
honest. Like,
like you wouldn't get back that much. Talking about picks, let's take a look at their draft. Their earliest pick was pick 64 in the draft. Really not much done here. With the little that was done, Mark, how did you feel about their draft?
they're kind of like the same situation as New Jersey. Like, I mean, there's not really anything to write home about. I just think maybe their first two picks, like Tynas Luke Cobbler and Tyler Hawkins, can probably be like fourth liners in the NHL. Eventually, if kind of their development paths go the right way. The one guy I'm kind of curious about to see how his development goes is Harry Nancy. He was like, I was hearing about this kid when he was like 14. Like, I'm pretty sure like he was playing U15 AAA and he scored 6 goals in a game. And then he was drafted like pretty high to the O. Didn't have a good season last year. Honestly, I saw him play live. I was not impressed. But one thing I didn't really realize is he's born on like September 12th. He was legit like 3 days away from being a 2026 pick. So it's like, I don't know, dude, if he has a huge year this year, like with Owen Sound, like that would probably change the way I think about him, considering that he probably could have went in next year's draft, right? So he's a big guy, but he's a skinny guy too. And he's a sniper who didn't score. So he's kind of another guy I've got my eyes on, to be quite honest. And my other, like, I know it's not like a big thing about the Leafs, but I'm kind of curious to see what happens because I think it's going to kind of give you more clarity on the team going forward. Is Dennis Hildeby still an RFA? I wonder if it has something to do with, because what we talked about before, I don't know if it was on the podcast or if it was off, about how like goalies, when they come off their ELC, a lot of the times they're signing like maybe a 2 or 3 year deal at like a really reduced cap hit, like $800K, something like that, because they don't really have a lot of like leg to stand on in accordance to like, they haven't played a lot of NHL games, you know what I mean? So what a lot of goalies do is if like they sign a 2 or 3 year deal, they'll sign, it's like a 1 year deal at 2-way, and then like the second year will be like a 1-way deal, anticipating like the cap hit's the same, but like he'll probably be in the NHL, or that he wants more money. So what I'm thinking with Hildeby is the Leafs are probably trying to get him on a 2 or 3 year deal at like maybe 800 or 900K, but I think he's fighting for that like second and third year to be a 1-way deal. And what I'm thinking is that Woll signed for 3 years. Stolarz is on 1 year left on his deal. I think ideally they'd probably want to re-sign him. But if you re-sign him, like, what's the point of giving Hill to be a 1-way? You know what I mean? Like, he's not going to be in the NHL. So I wonder if that is kind of what the discrepancy is right now. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of curious to see how it goes moving forward, because if Stolarz re-signs or is like anticipating, like, I think Hildeby could be a big trade chip. I think he'd be one of their most valuable assets they could use in a trade right now.
Outside of Easton Cowan and Ben Danford, I think he probably, like, out of guys that would be like tradable, I think he would be one of the bigger
Well,
ones.
yeah, and they don't have a first for a couple of years either,
Yeah.
right? So it's like one team that's maybe not good goaltending situation might be like, yeah, like we could use this guy. You know what I mean? Like, and you probably might not have to pay an arm and a leg for him. So that's kind of just another situation about Toronto that I'm kind of keeping an eye on, because I think Hildeby would probably think that like within the next 2 years he could make the NHL. You know what I mean? So I really wonder what the Leafs are going to do here. And I would try to re-sign Stolarz personally. I think he's good. As long as he doesn't want a ridiculous contract, considering that his injury history,
Yeah.
I'd be completely open to it.
Yeah, I'd if I was the Leafs, I'd wait until 20 games into the season to start negotiating with Stolarz. To be
Yeah,
honest, I would not be re-signing him right now if I was the Leafs.
that's fair.
I'd give it a bit of time. Mark, I want to ask you before we finish up the Leafs, what was your grade for the draft?
Um, what did I give the Devils? Like a B minus?
I believe it was a B minus. Yeah.
I think I'd just go the same with the Leafs. Like, it's not really, there's nothing really to ride home about, and like it's just not enough like
Yeah.
picks for anything to really be significant, to be quite honest.
Yeah, exactly what you said. I'm going to go the same with you. I'm going to give him, I'll give him a B because I gave New Jersey a B as well. So just not much you can really do here with the draft capital that they had. Overall thoughts though on the grade for their overall offseason.
Whew. They didn't do any. Their contracts are pretty good. Tavares. Honestly, dude, I think I'd go like A minus. Like, just because like it's like you lost Marner and you have to take that into consideration. But it's like you do get Nick Waugh, you get Joshua, you get Michelli. I like the Nyes contract. I love the Tavares contract. Their draft was like average. Their decor is the same, which to be honest, I probably wouldn't really have changed anything either.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think it's a pretty solid offseason despite losing like the best available free agent.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, dude. I'm giving them an A minus as well for all the things that you said. I think they've done a pretty good job of kind of filling in the hole of Mitch Marner, and then also filling in the holes that they already had on their team. The Lorenz contract, I love that one. Getting him at just over $1 million a year for 3 years to play on your fourth line, like that's going to look really well even in 2 years. Getting Pizzetta, getting some of these, just the depth that they have, I think is why I'm going to give them an A minus. Only thing that would maybe is bringing it down a little bit, as you mentioned, the losing Mitch Marner plays into a factor, and then also just the uncertainty of what it will look like. Because as you said earlier, like yeah, on paper it's a lot more different than previously. But how is that like? How is that gonna play out on the ice, right? Because we could get to the season time and all of a sudden like Michelli is getting healthy scratched like he was last year, and you maybe have a couple other holes in the lineup. So I'm gonna give them an A minus, same as you. Overall, though, that's gonna wrap up today's episode. This was our third episode of the deep dives. We're going to be doing every team around the NHL, so we'll have 5 more episodes after this one. It's going to go right up until, I believe, 1 week before the start of the regular season for the NHL, and then that week we'll just do a big preseason kickoff episode. So stay tuned for more of these deep dives and for the rest of the NHL season.